Yo, everybody. This is your host, Abe, and you're now tuning into The Scoop. All right, welcome back, everybody, and this is another episode of The Scoop. Today with me, Stephen Cow.
What's up, guys?
And we just rocked out an awesome back routine. You guys will get to see that, so make sure to check us out at BPISports.com, and you'll be seeing those updates on the trainer soon. So pretty much, let me go into introducing Stephen to you guys. A long time ago, he moved down here to Florida. I guess we ran into each other after a high school dance around this time, Halloween-ish. And he got beat up by a bunch of guys dressed as a skeleton. And I came in, saved the day, and that's how we wrapped it up. No, I'm just joking. That's the intro to Karate Kid. But we met not too long ago, actually. I had actually left, and I came back. And, I mean, you're third guest I've had on here. So this is actually pretty awesome. So I'm glad we got to do that together. But let's get into it. Let's break down some cool stuff for some of the fans. That way they can see from your point of view what it is to be a sponsored athlete, you know, someone who's competing, someone who's winning and competing. And, you know, pretty much the base is off social media. I mean, I follow you, so I think you're crushing it, and I wish my social media game was as strong. So hopefully we can get some answers for some of these guys out here. Pretty much, what'd you do before becoming an athlete? Like
before, like actually like competing and everything.
Before, before you competed. Like
what was my life like?
Yeah.
Okay,
what were you up to?
Basically, like from like 16 to 20. Well, 16 and 21 because I started competing when I was 21 years old. But that whole time I was always in the gym training. I actually never dieted until I was 21. I kind of just, just ate everything. Just train. Like for me, I fell in love with the training first. Like that was to this day, I would always be in the gym training even if I weren't an athlete or whatever. So I just started training since I was I started when I was 15 all the way to 21. Basically bulked my whole entire life. I was like the smaller kid in high school, 105, 110, skinny, could barely eat everything, could barely put on weight. So when I was 21 years old, I had to get surgery because I had to get a hernia replacement. And then from there, I had a friend, my friend Darren, he was competing for physique. He was like newer at the time. Yeah. So then I went to the show to watch like how it works. And I just saw some of the guys. I'm just like, damn, I feel like I can definitely do well at this, So like, I was recovering from surgery at the time, while I went to the show. And then I think a few months after that, I decided to do a show. So I was like, I'm just recovering from surgery, getting back into the gym. So like, let me just do a show. So I hired my coach, Coach Ariel. And from there, we went ahead and did a 16-week prep. It's the first time ever, dieting, keep in mind. Everything was new to me. So, I mean, I was always disciplined as a kid. So like when I was sent a game plan to do, like just to execute, it wasn't that hard for me to do. But I did suffer. That was my first
everybody does.
Yeah, it was my first taste of actually like suffering for a show, whatever. But then from there, I did that show and I got hooked, man.
I mean, I'm fresh into my diet, and there comes that time where I got to eat that turkey meal, and it's just like pain in my mouth. It's like straight punching me in the face every bite. So I get it. Which I would like to say for everybody who's listening, I mean, they heard it straight from your mouth. Yeah. It was at 15, you're a $105. I mean, you look flawless now. I mean, everybody's seen the ads, seen what you look like and all your work. Yeah. So you kept up with it. You stayed dedicated to it. And obviously you seeked advice from a coach, a trainer, somebody to help you out. Yeah. And now you're here. So that's proof to everybody out there. If you really want to get it done, you can. Yeah. And stay focused. Keep grinding. Aside from that, now that you're here in this part of the league, would you say, are you just running on your sponsorship? Do you work? Like, what's involved with your daily life now? Do you just...
So now I have the sponsorships here with BPI. I'm also working with like Gymshark, Trifecta. So I have a few sponsorships that I work with, but aside from that, I run my own like online coaching business. Just coaching athletes that want to do competition, or just people that just want to get in shape, just anybody that just has a goal.
Yeah.
They reach out to me. Like, I don't really just pinpoint a certain group of people. Like, oh, I only coach athletes that compete. Gotcha. I kind of work with anyone. So that way I'm just like diverse. Like, just in my head, I know I can get anyone in shape if it comes down to it. So that's awesome. Now I'm just doing like online coaching. I have some business partners in China that I'm doing business with there. So
awesome. I mean, look at that. A perfect example. I mean, you got bodybuilding down licked, you know, you're running on Instagram, you got, you know, that entrepreneur drive as well too. So you're covering all bases. You know what I mean? I know some people, you know, you look out to their page and you're like, this is all that person got. Mm-hmm. You know, they're modeling, and it's, you know, what are you going to do next? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
just think as a person, you know, you just got to really expand and grow. Like, it's just, I feel like just training and doing all that, that's kind of easy in a sense. But like, to expand yourself as a person, just trying to like explore other ventures. Gotcha. I think you grow so much as a person, you know?
Well, that's what I like to see, because obviously, you know, a lot of people probably look at you and go, this guy lives in the gym. And and it may be true, because, you know, 9 hours out of the day when you're not sleeping, you're either probably cooking, running, lifting, training somebody. But obviously the training portion is part of one of your jobs. Yeah. Again, and I'm sure you work really hard with the rest of the companies that you work close to. And, you know, people need to realize that. Like, some people already set their minds that the goal is not doable. They cannot accomplish it because they need X amount of dollars or X amount of this. And, you know, you went from saying, I'm 105. Yeah. I went to a show. I liked it. I'm going to do it. And you did it. Yeah, you know what I mean? And these people are just throwing in all these equations without even looking to it. So again, that's good that you got to speak out, especially for the younger crowd, to let them know.
No, I think it's super important. Even like with like my generation, the kids in my generation, like, it's just the work ethic that you really got to put in, because everybody wants everything easy now, you know? Yeah. Nobody wants to go do the work, go through the suffering, and go the extra mile. They want things easy. They want to just be Instagram models and just, you know, have it easy. But I just think the key root is just the work ethic that you have to put in.
I got you on that. Now, so we were talking about your first show. Yeah. How was that? Was that your first show? Was it your first win?
First show ever. So basically, I went to the show. You know, I prepped 16 weeks straight, and
what category were you?
I was still in physique. So I go in there. I see people eating like rice cakes. You know, eating out of Tupperware. I'm like, should I be doing that too? I feel like I should be doing that. You know, but like, this is like just me. Just everything's so new to me. So I go in there.
Let me ask you something. You see these people eating. Obviously, you've been prepping. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're starving. How did you feel like in that moment? Like when you saw that? Like were you like
in my head? I feel like I was not doing something right, because obviously, like, I'm not sure how a show works, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But obviously I stuck to the game plan that my coach sent to me and everything. And then, I mean, the show went well. You know, I managed to win my novice class. I won the overall novice, and then I won the open class, and then I won the open overall for the whole show too. So
nice. So your first show was your first win?
Yeah.
Dang. How many people were there, would you say? Because I know physique is huge. I mean, you go to the shows, they're stacked.
I think in my class, it could be up to like maybe, I'm not exactly sure how many people were in my class, but the whole show itself, maybe up to maybe 40 to 60 guys. Wow. And in the overall.
But you took overall.
Yeah. I got
First show overall, smoked them.
Yeah. But like going in there, you know, I kind of thought in my head, like, I'm not sure how I'm going to do, you know? But I always had this like confidence in my training and just like my work ethic that I just knew, like, if I train this way, like, I know I'm going to do okay. You know, I'm going to be okay or do well. So, like, when they put me in the first qual and everything, and I was dead center, that's when I knew I was going to win the class. But then for the overalls, it's kind of like, you're not going to know, because they're going to judge you. And then within that minute, they're going to let you know who's going to win. So when they called me for the overall, I was just kind of like, wow. And then I remember waiting backstage, because when you're in the overall, like all the like bikini overall, bodybuilding overall, they all go together to take a photo. So I had to wait until like the show was over. And I remember just sitting there backstage, and I was like, damn, man, I feel like I could do something with this sport, you know, like, you know, this is where I knew, like, I feel like I got to put all my eggs into this basket now. Like, so then from there, I kind of rebounded after the first show. You know, I just didn't know how the system worked to go pro. Yeah. Because basically you have to qualify at a local show, which I did. And then you go to nationals. Yeah. But then after that first show, I was talking to my coach. I was like, how do I go pro? Because he always suggested you should do junior nationals, but I kind of just overlooked it because financially I wasn't really there.
Yeah, shows are expensive.
And at the time I was a bouncer at a nightclub. Nice. I was working in Atlantic City. I wasn't making that much money. I was just working like weekends. I was still a student too. I was still in school as a
full grind.
Full grind. I was prepping. Yeah, I was prepping for a show while I was taking some classes, and then I was working the weekends too. So like, I remember. I almost had when I did my first national show, I almost had a mental breakdown. I was like, wow, man, this shit is fucking hard, you know?
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
But from there, I just kind of just like sucked it up and just kept pushing through. But, you know, like in the end, I just always had this vision. Like I really didn't have any other outlets. So like in my head, I was just like, I just got to go all in with this. Like I have no choice here, you know?
Damn, that's pretty crazy because you went on, you did your first show, you won. And I mean... Like, you know, usually some people, I get it. Some people do win their first show or whatever the case is. But then they have that, like, that hunger, which you had. You were seeking what's next. Like, I need to win a pro show. Yeah. So when did you take on the pro show? Like, when was that jump?
When I got pro or when I turned pro?
Well, when you started competing to go pro. Like,
yeah, so after the first show in my head, you know, I was on cloud 9. I was just like, wow, like, I had so much fun. But, like, I already did the show, so like, what's next? You almost have like no destination after that. So from there, I just started planning. I was like, let me try nationals. You know, like let me put the same work ethic into the show. I know what it takes to win a show, so let's implement that into like a national show. But I just knew like the competition was going to be that much more. I'm going against other guys that won overalls too. Yeah. You know, now it's just like who's gonna take on nationals.
Guys coming from out of state and competition you just never seen before. You know. So how was that? Like, so did you compete in multiple shows before you won your pro card?
I did. I only did one local show in my life. And then from there, I did a total of 3 national shows. It took me 3 national shows to win, to go pro. So the first national show, I got 6th place. And then, you know, I was in the first call out. So I was one of the top guys. Yeah. But I definitely, my posing, all that, you know, it's my second time on stage. So from there, kind of took a little break. Then I went to Miami. I got 5th place there. It still made the first call out, so I'm like, I'm getting closer and closer. Yeah. Took a little bit of a longer break, and then I went to junior nationals, and then from there, with the mentality I had going to there was just like, I'm gonna go into that show looking like a pro. Like I have to look like a pro. Like the only way you could beat me is you have to look like a pro. So like just in my head, I just had that like just kind of like stoned in. And I was just like, all right, let me train this way. Let me try to look this way and. From there, I managed to win the overall at nationals, at junior nationals, and then
dang, that's awesome.
It was it was a crazy.
This is down here in Miami.
It was in Chicago.
Oh, actually in Chicago? Hey,
yeah,
that's my city. Yeah, congratulations. Now I know you're certified in the hood, so we all know that down there. So we got pretty much Miami covered. We got Atlantic City covered. We got Chicago covered. So I mean, aside from everything else you're accomplishing, everybody knows. Stephen Cowell's hood certified. All hoods. I'll vouch for that. But what would you say the overcoming part was? I remember you said, you know, you hit 6th, then you hit 5th, and then boom, you showed up and you wrecked the scene. And you were like, I'm not going in until, you know, I'm, you know, 110% dialed in, 100. I just wanted to know, like, what was it that you worked on probably the most? What changed? Like, was it your diet? Was it your posing? Or was it just like an all around?
It was more of like, at this point, you know, this is where I'm like more of like an athlete. You know, this is where I started getting the sponsorships. I stopped working my nighttime job. I kind of stopped going to school. Nice. I just told myself like, this is my job now. Like I kind of just distilled like, yo, like if I'm going to be doing this, I have all the tools right now to go pro. You know, I have the supplement sponsor.
Full dedication.
Full dedication mode. So then from there, it was just also like learning my body too during the process of all the other national shows. Because, you know, it's the first time I ever dieted was my first show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just only having 3 shows under my belt, going into that 4th one where I turned pro, it helped me a lot just learning about my body. And then just to prep for junior nationals, I kind of got it down how my body was responding to certain foods and the cardio training. So I had a whole system I was up training up to 2 times a day some of the days because I treat it like a full-time job, you know?
Of course. Now you're free and I mean, you're just bringing a whole new package. Mm-hmm. You recently, you had entry for what? Arnold or the Olympia?
I did.
Did you compete in both? Or?
I did. Well, this is what happened. Once I turned pro, 2 weeks following that, I did my pro debut. just to see where I stand. You know, I didn't really go in with the mentality of winning just because, you know, I just got fresh off of a win in Chicago. So I was just like, I'm still in shape. My coach was like, just jump into the show. And, you know, even like 10 days out, I even went out drinking at a bar just to celebrate the win, you know. But I knew I was competing. You got to celebrate. I knew I was competing in 10 days. So, like, just going because I had to fly out to Cali. And from there, I did the show. I ended up taking 4th place there. So then after that, I had another hernia. So I had to get the opposite side fixed. And, you know, I was pretty depressed in a way because I was like, damn, I just got my pro card. I got to sit out for the next 8 weeks. So then I just remember, like, if I come back, I'm going to set the bar high. So I was like, let me do the Arnold Classic. So that was like the second pro show I ever did.
Nice.
And then I did like it was a 16-week prep for that show. And then I remember I told my coach, I was like, I want to do the Arnold. And at first he was kind of like, he's not going to doubt me, but I could sense that he was in a way like, you sure you want to do this? It's kind of like the big show.
Yeah.
So then from there, I was like, yeah, like I want to do that show. And then I went ahead and did a full prep for that. And I guess from taking that break from the surgery, my body just responded really well to the training, the diet, and everything.
Two
and then
surgeries.
2 surgeries, yeah. And then just going to the Arnold, it was the best I ever looked in my life for that. Like just for out of all my shows. So I just had that confidence boost, but I wasn't sure how I was going to do because, you know, I'm going against they're all Olympians that are in the top. Because in the first qual, it was weird how it worked. If you watch the video, they called 5 guys out. So then in my head, I was like, damn, man, I didn't make the cut this time. So just, I kind of shook it off.
You're in the first 5.
Yeah. And then like 20 seconds after they called out the top 5, they called me out. So in there, I'm like, wow, I'm in this now. So then it was just exciting because remember how I told you my friend Darren competed his first show? Yeah. The pro level, Andre Ferguson was competing there. So then at this show, I'm competing against him. So it was super cool to see that.
Dang.
So then at that show, I ended up getting 6th, which was like a huge accomplishment for me, just being like my second show and just the competition. Yeah. And from there, you know, I'm just hungry for more, you know?
Yeah. So pretty much in you know, just putting this all down on paper and reviewing it, you know, it doesn't matter whether you win your first show, second, third, whatever the case is, you know, just like everything in this sport, it's pretty much the saying, you know, it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. Like for someone like yourself, you're a pro and you're still reaching for that level that just, you know, you're pushing yourself way beyond. Yeah. So that, you know, I want people who listen in to take from that because, you know, you're getting so many things done and accomplished and you've undergone, I mean, 2 surgeries. I mean, you know, you're working through all of this. You still work. I mean, the dedication it takes, a lot of people need to understand that. Yeah. And it's really hard because it's like you said, you train multiple people, whether they're trying to compete or just lose weight or gain weight. Yeah. So you know how hard it is. You know, we can't open their mouths and tell them, please eat this or please don't eat that. Or, you know, I said you could have this for a cheat meal and, you know, you ate half a cake and you're like, dude, like, I get it was buy one, get one, but come on, you know, give one away. Yeah. But, you know, I just want people to understand, like, you know, it's still a dream. And to make it a reality, people such as yourself who's on a pro card level have to still grind it out. Yeah.
It really comes down to like, how bad do you really want it? You know, because even this year, I can even give you an example. I went to Chicago, did the Chicago Pro. I didn't do too well there. I got like, I think 14th, like 11th or 14th or something like that. Okay. I was in that range. And my coach was going to pull the plug and say, hey man, let's just take off and let's try to grow more. But initially, my whole game plan that I wanted to do was the Tampa Pro. Okay. So I went ahead, like regardless of what he was going to do, I told him, I was like, hey man, I want to do the Tampa Pro. So then that was like 4 weeks after Chicago. And then at that show, I did okay. I got 3rd place there. At Tampa. But the win for me was the top 5 guys in Chicago from 2nd place to 5th. Or 2nd place to 6th, they all showed up in Tampa. And I was able to place higher than them. So that was the win for me. But like say I gave up and like just took that break and didn't know, I would have all these unanswered questions like, do I need to be bigger? Like like just based off of the the judging, it looked like the guys were bigger. That's what my coach was saying.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't the case. Because in Tampa, too, it's the head judges. We had like Steve Weinberger, Tyler Mannion, the guys that judge the Olympia, you know? So for me, that was like more valuable. And it was a learning lesson for me, too, you know? Because in Chicago, I feel like my peak wasn't that great. And I knew I wasn't at my best in Chicago. So it was so difficult for me to just end the season in Chicago and just like not knowing how well I could have done. So if I were to say anything, just never give up on yourself and just always believe in yourself. Because even nationals, you know, it took me 3 national shows to go pro. But, you know, I could have gave up after like 2 of them. Just like, wow, this is too tough. You know, let's try to find something different, you know?
Yeah. So you obviously, you know, your first few times around, you mentioned like when you first started dieting, you know, you had like the mental breakdown and I know exactly what that feels like. Like I've marched around my kitchen, like looking in the cabinets like, as if there was something there, you know? Yeah. It's almost to the point where like I'm checking my girl's purse, not on like if she's like cheating on me or like a guy's numbers in there, I'll just throw it out. I'm like, there has to be a cookie or something in here. You know what I mean? Like it's at that point, like where I'm just losing it. But in reality, what is it at this point? Because, you know, a lot of people, again, they second guess this. I mean, they must feel like, you know, this guy's on top of the world. Everything's a given. Like they have to understand, like, is there a specific motivation? Is there a specific drive that just keeps you locked in? Like I said, you know, we went out there, we trained, we hit back, and I explained to you, you know, there's some people that can get out there and do it. They'll do 8 weeks, and it's like a revenge 8 weeks. I'm gonna work out and lose 15 pounds to get back at my ex-girlfriend. Like, dude, come on. Like, where are you gonna go? That's not the mentality to succeed or win. I mean, let alone you're not gonna get her back. You know, I mean. If Steve Cowell's following her on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen, you're finished. Or if she follows him, just wrap it up. But no, I'm just playing. I hope I don't get you in trouble for that. But what is it? Like what's personally, what is your motivation? Like, is there just something that fuels you that you're like, you know what? You know, off the books, this is something I do because outside of the love, the passion of it, like it's just something that you were like, I want to prove them wrong. Like,
I mean, for me, I always have the passion to train, so I'm always going to train for me. But then also having a goal with the training helps. But I think it's just curiosity of my potential, you know, like, I always hear of like people saying, oh, you have great genetics and you have great potential and stuff. But for me, it's up to me to do the work to see that. You know, people can sit here and say, hey, like you could be Mr. Olympia one day, or you could be like a top pro one day. I could hear this, but it comes down to me to do it, you know? So like, I guess that's kind of like the driving force, and also just having I just seen a lot of the feedback I get from just like my fans and the audience, like they have like a lot of belief in me.
Okay.
So like I want to kind of like just prove to them that I can do it, but then also have the same people that would doubt me too. Like, I mean, just even when I was trying to go pro, I was pushing out YouTube videos, series and stuff, and I'll read some of the comments and say, hey, this guy could never go pro. Like he's, you know, too small or whatever. So in a way, it's just kind of just that a lot. I get motivation from a lot of things. So all of that kind of just motivates me.
You know, man, haters are going to hate. I mean, Instagram's full of them. I mean, you know.
Yeah. But I never really let that get to my head in any sort of way, but just in general, I just feel like my potential, just my peak potential, what can I really do in the sport, you know?
That's what's up. Yeah. I mean, what's your end goal? Do you see yourself going to an Olympia and just cleaning house?
I mean, my first goal now is, you know, obviously win a big pro show, maybe like a New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro, Arnold Classic.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then from there, you know, set the goal even higher, place top 5 at the Olympia, win an Olympia, you know, like I really like
you line it up.
Yeah, I kind of make it more realistic for myself because I know I can win a pro show, you know, it just comes down to the game plan going into it, you know.
Yeah.
But then from there, I can't just sit here and be like, oh well, I'm going to try to win the Olympia next year when I haven't even won like a pro show yet.
I got you.
So I like to set the goals kind of small and then just work off there, you know.
Is there anyone that you like look forward to competing against? Like you just mentioned to me about your buddy. Is there somebody out there that you're like, not only do I want to compete against this person, I want to beat this person? Like,
There's a few guys, like Andre Ferguson, he's a top pro and he's won a lot of pro shows. So he's really known as like a top competitor. Brandon Hendrickson, I competed against him in China. I actually went up to China to try to compete against him to see how that was going to go. But, the flight and all that was just disastrous. But just any of the top guys, to be honest, that I really want to match up with. The top guys at their best, I just want to see what I can do coming at my best,
I mean, obviously my word, who knows how far it goes, but I honestly, I think you got it. I think you look phenomenal. Anybody tries to say you look small, I mean, they're absolutely dead wrong. We had a killer workout. I mean, killer tips, the breakdown, everything that you've given out to all the fans and anybody who's listening. I mean, they see your story. I mean, if this is something they want to pursue, I mean, who better? Who better? You know what I mean? Like, you coming out of high school being a $105 and then, stepping on stage. And I mean, I love when you told me that you had 10 days out for that other pro show and you hit the bar. I was like, man, this guy's a badass.
I just had to, man. I mean, I was just with all my friends and there's this bar and I think it's in Brigantine area, Atlantic City area. Okay. It's just like every Wednesday, it's like a big reunion with like a lot of people that you go to high school with. Yeah. College kids are there. So it's just like, I've been on prep for so long, chasing the pro card. So when I got that pro card, I was just like, let me just celebrate it a little bit, take some shots and then get back on my grind. Cause I just know like how, just like with dieting, one day of bad eating isn't really going to make or break you. So like same thing goes with like, if you were going to go out one night, but then, like, for example, in, like, 4 weeks, that's about, like, 28 days. If you have one day where you have a cheat meal or one bad day, that's not really going to hinder you that much, you know? So I kind of just put that into perspective and just knew myself, like, I just got to celebrate a little bit,
Two questions on those comments right there. One, what was the drink of choice when you went out that night?
Got some tequila.
Oh, God, I can't party with this guy. Second would be, do you ever feel whenever sometimes a cheat meal is granted that people, take advantage of it? Like I have one buddy who's like, yeah, I got a cheat meal. And I always remind him, dude, it's a cheat meal, not a cheat day. Mm-hmm. But this guy is like, I got to get the ice cream with the cake and then the large pizza, but the pizza comes with the wings and the pasta. I'm like, dude, you ordered the NFL package. Like,
you went to the buffet.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you can't eat all that, dude. Like, how are you going to eat your next meal in 2 hours? I mean, your pants are about to pop. Like, do you feel like some people sometimes misinterpret that and then that catches up to them?
I just feel like they kind of misunderstand the concept of a cheat meal because I feel like a cheat meal is really to kind of replenish you from being in deficit. So if you're in deficit for so long, that cheat meal is supposed to kind of just ramp your metabolism up, keep you kind of full, keep your leptin levels in check. So, because at the end of the day, you're still chasing a goal. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So if the cheat's too big, it can even bring you back even more, Yeah. I mean, I've experienced that before too, where, first time dieting, had a cheat meal, went all out, got the pizza, even before I even started like a prep for a show.
Did you even get to your next meal after you did the insane cheat meal?
This is what I would do. I mean, if I knew I was going to cheat the whole day, I would kind of just not eat my other meals and just work around the meals. You know what I'm saying? I'll have a day where I'll be okay. I'll have this, maybe like 3 meals, but it's like bigger size, and they're like at the end of the day, the total calorie intake would maybe be like 3,000. Still like a slightly surplus, but it'd be more of like the choices I want.
Okay.
But like that's how I would do it if I were to do that, to go that way. But I wouldn't go ahead and eat like 5 of my actual meals and then throw in like the full buffet after that, because that would just be like overkill.
I feel you on that. I think that's again, I think that's very important. Obviously coming from you as well too, so everybody will take that piece of advice. And while we're on the subject of advice, any advice to any up-and-comers out there who are, seeking to do something, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's to pursue bodybuilding. I mean, now's the time, if anybody wants to hear from straight entrepreneur, I mean, physique model and bodybuilder, because he fits the criteria for both, and all around badass, cool guy. I mean,
I appreciate that.
Who
man.
doesn't want to go out, drink with a guy that has a 6-pack, get on stage in 10 days, and make things happen. He's making business moves. So, any advice you want to share with any of the fans or anybody you can say out there, just anything, the smallest bit that'll help.
Yeah, I would say if you're trying to, compete for a show, invest into a coach, which would basically be investing into yourself. If you're trying to build like a social media platform, start a YouTube channel. I mean, for me, at first it was kind of difficult getting out of my comfort zone. You're talking in front of a camera and it's so new to you, but it's just something you just got to do, because at the end of the day, like, you can build the best like physique you can possibly do, but if nobody knows you or knows your story, there's no like story behind it,
Yeah.
So like initially, like for me, how I kind of blew up with my social media was like I created a transformation video from when I was 16 to 21.
Okay.
And this is when I was prepping for the first show that I was telling you about, where I won the overall. So as I was prepping for that show, I was creating this video, but I was like, I gotta do something to make this video really pop. So like, let me try to win the show and then throw this in the video. And then I went ahead and did all that. And that video managed to get up to, I think, 3 million views now. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it kind of just kickstarted my YouTube. And then people wanted to see more. How do you train? How do you eat? What do you do? Yeah. And then from there, I was like, damn, I got to do like a series going to nationals now. So that's what I went ahead and did. But for me, to be honest, like, I was really uncomfortable being behind a camera at first. I was really introverted and shy. So it was still new to me. But I would just say, get out of your comfort zone and just take all the risks you can. If you're young, like, you'll learn from it, so even if you're even older, just keep taking risks, because I feel like it's always going to be a lesson that you'll learn from like the experience.
That's one thing I also talk about in the trainer. I always say, get yourself out of your comfort zone and it'll lead you somewhere great. Again, speaking of great, it was awesome having you here, Steven.
Appreciate that, man.
Again, man, I wish you come back. I would love to have you on another podcast. Maybe this one would be talked about more drinking and partying than getting lean and suffering on a diet. But aside from that, guys, thank you for tuning in. Steven Cow in the house, shredded to the T, and tune in. Tune into the next time.
Check it out. See you guys. Awesome.